What's going on, Pokemon Go trainers? Welcome to episode 85 of Lured Up, the podcast where we take Pokemon Go way more seriously than we do ourselves. Lured Up is part of the Pokemon Professor Network, and today is Sunday, June 30th, 2019. I'm your host, Ken Pescator, joined by only one co-host today, Adam Tuttle. Melissa's under the weather.
Hey! And we hope that Melissa feels better.
Yes, she's banged up. She's laid out. But we also have someone else in the digital space with us. It's JT Valor's in the house.
What? Hi, everybody.
Yes.
How's it going, guys?
Dude, what's going on? What's happening, man?
Man,
how are
doing
you?
excellent.
I'm doing really good. I got some shinies today. I get to talk to some awesome people. It's going to be a good time.
When they released all these shinies, I was like, JT's going to go bonkers. I was excited to talk to you because I'm sure you're going to make us all very angry by saying how many shinies you have, considering I have 0 from the event.
I have 0 as well.
Yeah.
We'll get there. At least one of us has some. They're just all of them are his, but all right, we'll get there. Don't worry about it. All right, housekeeping really quick. This podcast is powered by Patreon. Please check ours out over at patreon.com/Pokemon Professor, where you can support this show for as little as $1 a month. And that $1 will get you access to our patron exclusive Discord, which is a fantastic place filled with fantastic people.
It sure is.
There you go.
Oh,
See, look,
JT
you guys
got
made
it.
up for it. Yes.
I may watch this quite often, so I was excited to do that.
And I want to give a huge shout out to our show supporter tier patrons. All right, big deep breath here. Brittany, J, Matt, M. Pitts, Terry, David, Chris, Sydney, Baconell, The Noise, Harry, Poke, Navbot, Purple Pancakes, Dem Gears, Be Bangin', Lady Goobly Meat, Super Nerd, Fox, Go Ranger, Matt, Reversal, and new this week, The Phoenix. Thank you guys so incredibly much for your support. Also, thanks to David for joining in at the Discord tier. Great fucking week on Patreon. Thank you guys so very much. And The Phoenix, who's our show supporter tier, has an awesome Instagram. So I'll link to that in the description as well. Make sure you check him out and give him a follow. All right. Huge shout to our executive producer, Paul Bhatt, and our Elite Four patron, Jessica Pfeiffer. You guys are awesome. We appreciate your support greatly.
Best.
You guys are keeping the gears oiled. Thank you so very much for your support. Okay. On today's show, we're going to get to know JT Valor. We know him. We shacked up in the Airbnb at GoFest, so yeah. it was a good time. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit. Some
amazing.
good times in our Airbnb that was adjacent to the murder capital park of Chicago, which was fun, which we found out afterwards, which was awesome.
That was great.
Well, it would make sense as to why somebody was following me.
Oh, man.
Well, it would make sense why the rate was so good. We'll get there. Happy 3rd anniversary to Pokemon Go. Can you believe it? It's been 3 years.
Oh, man.
3 years of fun. There's a lot of stuff going on in the game. We'll get to that. We'll have an APK mine of 0.147.1. Hold on to your butts, people. There's a lot of good stuff in here, and we'll try to keep our perspectives
nerd caps on.
Well, look. There's a lot of shit to speculate about this, and it's fun to inappropriately speculate. But I think that there is some stuff that can be grounded in this update. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll dig into a little Jungle Cup meta and Battle Party to close things out. But first, JT Valor, man, how are you? Let's get to know you. Why don't you introduce yourself for our community? Talk about your brand, talk about your channel, and we'll start there.
Hi, guys. I'm JT Valor, self-proclaimed Shiny King. I go out there and I find a lot of shinies. That's basically what I do. And yeah, it's been a good ride. So far, my biggest accomplishments are that I've gotten up to 500 shinies, most of which by walking, which is great. Occasionally, I do some card grinds, but I don't have a car, so it has to be with friends and such. But yeah, it's basically what I'm about, really, is shiny hunting and a little bit of exercise. One of my biggest accomplishments, outside of the game, but with the game, is that I've lost 100 pounds while playing this game.
Which is absolutely fantastic.
That's so cool.
I'm so happy about it, because honestly, throughout my life, I was like, this is never going to happen. I just wouldn't get the motivation. But then turns out the motivation was going outside and catching imaginary animals for my enjoyment.
Look, I've said this before to different people, and even the motivation for myself to get physical is that if that's what it takes for me to have motivation, so be it. That's awesome. Why not fully embrace that? Because
100%.
who cares? Yeah, it's like that. It doesn't matter that they're imaginary creatures. It doesn't matter that this is a game. if that's going to be the catalyst for you to get out there and do something that's, for the good of yourself as a human, fuck yeah. That's awesome.
I've been hearing things all around about like people that lose weight because they go on the treadmill while playing a video game. I mean, like, it's really just like what motivates you. Like for me, exercise sucks. I don't like it, but exercise is okay if it means I'm going to find a shiny. Like,
there you go.
Yeah, nobody likes, exercising. I went on a run. I might not like to just run, but I know that it's good for my health. So
exactly.
I took a run and I got a shiny Eevee. So, it was a win-win.
It wasn't your guaranteed one, was it?
No,
okay.
No. It was with the gotcha.
Nice. Oh, nice.
Oh, fuck. You know what, man?
It was with the Go Plus.
I still get upset about all this gotcha talk. It's just whatever. I'm moving on.
I'm focusing on running. I don't have time to be pushing a button the entire run.
I've got a line in the show notes here that says, "What's JT Valor's team?" But obviously, you're not JT Mystic.
Oh yeah,
right?
No, it's actually TJ Mystic. Thank you.
The alter ego. No, but obviously you're on the best team, which is Valor. Who's your favorite Pokemon, or at least your Pokemon of the week? Who's your favorite right now?
All right, so currently I have 3 favorites. They are Sharpedo, because I like sharks a lot. I actually worked with great white sharks and such in my past, and it was a lot of fun, and I love these animals. So when I was a kid and I saw a shark Pokemon, I was like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. And then Gen 4 came out, and my second favorite Pokemon is Garchomp, because it's literally a shark and a dragon mixed together. And then Rayquaza, because Rayquaza is literally the best thing ever.
Yeah, Rayquaza is my son is a huge Charizard fan. He's the OG Charizard all the way. But I think it was maybe a month or two ago. He goes, hey, I think I have a new favorite Pokemon. I think Rayquaza has bumped out Charizard. I go, oh my god, is it possible?
Did he approach you and you were like, oh boy, this is going to be a different kind of talk? And then he says this, and you're like, oh. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, good way to go, son. That's,
you know what? I support
completely. I thought he was gonna tell me he was into Nickelback.
Yeah.
No, it'll be okay.
All right, we gotta have a talk, son.
That would be devastating.
I know I love you, but we need to talk.
Yeah, I don't know if I love you that much.
You are the self-proclaimed Shiny King, so you have 500 plus shinies now. Have you ever transferred a shiny?
Not yet, and I don't want to, but. Well, okay, so if you consider Let's Go, I did put some in there, but then I kind of regretted doing it because,
Yeah.
But I did it because I was just like, oh, cool, you can throw stuff in here. This is neat. And then I looked back on it and I was like, now this kind of...
them back.
I want it back. I haven't even opened that game in forever, man, so I miss them. But, I don't want to, and if it ever comes to the point where I have to, it's definitely going to be the Community Day starters and the 20 Slack Ops I got. I don't need those, but, yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be hard to just as far as, box maintenance goes of managing your space because, I've got plenty of Community Day shinies too, but, not anywhere remotely close to 500. So that's got to be hard just keeping, a quarter of your total storage just
I'm almost
blocked out for shinies.
I'm almost constantly at 1900. I'm pretty good at all right, until the next Community Day, this is what I've got to work with, or a Go Fest or something like that. I'm pretty confident that I can at least have a good 100 to 200 because I just delete pretty much everything immediately unless it has sparkles next to it or if it's really good.
I had a really hard time deleting shinies, and it took GoFest to get me to do that.
Oh, really?
I remember sitting and just being like, oh, I have 13 Totodiles. I'll go down to 10. I'll go down... Okay, I'll go down to 8.
But you'll keep the 33 CP Delibird, but you won't. But you'll delete the shiny.
No,
Totodile.
I deleted Delibirds too.
Blasphemy! You?
Well, no, it was and I got a lot of trades in, and I got a lot of traded Delibirds, and all the ones that were bad, I was like, okay, sweet. It gave me an out. I could delete this because I can't use it. I can't trade it unless they had good stats, and then I kept them.
Oh no!
Because it's that memory.
Box maintenance is the bane of my whole gaming existence when it comes to this game because I'm constantly when I'm lean and mean and I get rid of everything that I possibly would want to. I'm probably around 1550 or 1600. So 400 Pokemon is a decent amount of room to work with for a grind session, but It's gotten to the point where it's like, man, I don't even want to check the IVs. It's just like I just freaking get rid of them, and it's like I know I'm getting rid of stuff.
I check the IVs and everything.
Because ignorance is bliss. You know that like there's probably a hundo in there somewhere, but I don't need to know.
And it's like, and I barely have any, like the 100% that I have are very few. So it's like I know I've gotten rid of them before, but it's like I just, I got to pick my battles, and that's just a battle I'll take losing.
Yeah,
I guess. I wanted to talk about YouTube, obviously. Just after GoFest, you hit 10,000 subscribers. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I honestly did not think that was going to happen for a while, so thank you, everybody who subscribed. I love you guys so much.
The way I kind of found out who you were initially, and this was going back probably over a year ago, I think it might have been Reversal, had mentioned you or brought you up or something like that, but it seems that you're a charismatic dude, man, and I see that smile in so many videos when I'm watching, the Summer Tour Squad and all those people that are putting out big videos, and it's like, oh shit, there's JT again. There's another JT appearance. Like, that's freaking awesome. So it's like, how has it been kind of mixing it up and rubbing elbows with these YouTubers that have these massive audiences? I mean, that's got to be an amazing platform and an amazing kind of stepping stone to getting your own audience together, right?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. So it all started I would always be in live streams and stuff, and I never was like, hey, I'm doing a channel too. I kind of kind of made it known that I was doing it, but at the same time, not trying to promote myself by any means with them, but just kind of showing support. Even before Zoe got really, really big, I was in their streams occasionally and just be like, hey, blah, 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 how you doing? And just trying to build up a bit of a repertoire. And then when I finally was able to actually do a big event like Singapore, which was the first time I actually got to meet a lot of these people, it was really cool because basically I tell Brandon Ton, I'm because he came down to the last Go Fest, and then me and him got along really well, and then he came to Orlando and hung out with us for a little bit, so me and him had a little bit of a a small friendship, I guess. And then I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about going to Singapore. Do you think I should do it? And he's like, dude, come, I have a ticket for you. I'm like, all right, sure. So
nice.
It was great. It was really great. And then basically, came down there, and they immediately, they were super cool with me. And I was really happy because, in the back of your mind, you're just like, holy shit, I'm going to be with all these really, big YouTubers. But, I don't like thinking that way either. It's for me, it's always the weird, kind of like Achievement Hunter, a completely different, kind of thing, but they're kind of like a family kind of deal. And that's something that really drew me in with this, is that I've always wanted to be a part of something like that. And then I saw, Pokemon Go, and I was like, oh, this is great. Everybody's mostly positive, and they're hanging out and having a great time. And this is something I want to do too, and I love this game. And after everything's done for me, I would love to help promote it and make it do better. Look at all these shinies. Look at this. Play the game. It's great. So
sure. Well, it's interesting that you brought up Achievement Hunter because I think when I got into GoFest on Thursday night, you were with Adam and Pop Punk Pokemon. You guys were grinding at the pier, and we, Melissa and I drive in. We get into Chicago. We pick you guys up. We actually did a car grind, a nice shiny hunt, so I did get to grind and shiny hunt with the Shiny King, which was really fucking cool. Got the shiny Sandshrew. I know you were pissed.
I was a little jealous of that one. I was just like, I saw the green and I heard your scream, and I was just like, I'm so happy for you.
But when we got back to the Airbnb, you're like, oh, you're wearing an Achievement Hunter shirt, and I was like, yeah, I love these guys. I've been big fans of Rooster Teeth for over 20 years. It's crazy how long I've been into them. And the dynamic that they have is something that inspires me a lot. Now, the content creators outside of the Pokemon Go world that I'm really into have that very similar family dynamic. I love Achievement Hunter. I love Rooster Teeth. I'm a huge Kinda Funny fan. Kinda Funny Best Friends, that community that they have going on there is amazing. I've been a part of that community forever. And then, then there's Giant Bomb, which is a completely different dynamic, but they have all these camps that all kind of interact with each other and are all positive and amazing.
Right.
And with Pokemon Go, it's different because you have all these individual creators where they're not necessarily a network or a group effort. You have these individualized creators, but they're all collaborating at all times, and they all kind of pop in and out of each other's videos, And I think that dynamic is fantastic. And, when I saw you popping up in the Singapore videos, I go, holy shit, like he's making it happen. And then it was like DX1 was showing up in the videos. I go, this is crazy. Like
that was actually really crazy.
It was really cool to see that, but I absolutely get where you're coming from as far as, how everyone interacts and how cool it is because, we got to meet everyone at GoFest this year too and spend time with people. And it was like, man, we've worked with them. We've had them on the show. And it's like, now we're chilling and hanging out. And it's like, man, it goes beyond the persona. Because, when it comes down to it, we're still entertainers. You know what I mean? We're putting out a product and we're entertaining. We might be educating. We might be doing this or that, but there's a certain persona that's associated with that. So being able to pull that curtain back and hang out with the people and be like, holy shit, they really do have this passion. Like this isn't a front. It was like, this is what it's all about. And what was cool about staying with you in the Airbnb was like, we're back at the Airbnb after doing a 3-hour grind, on Thursday night. And it's like, I'm editing at 4 a.m. and I look over and you're fucking on your laptop at 4 a.m. I'm like, yes, this is real. Like the grind is real. Like this is how people are throwing down. This is very, very inspiring. So it's really cool.
There was hardly any sleep at all, for sure.
Yeah,
oh no!
Sleep was a rare commodity.
Pulling out a cooler with tequila and
drinking straight out of the bottle for that. That was good. I was just like, all right, I guess we're doing this. Just a couple downs. I was like, all right, we're good.
Yeah, it was legit. That was good times, man. I'm glad we were able to do that. But yeah, it's congrats on the 10K and to many many more. I think that niche content. Pokemon Go at large is niche content.
Oh yeah.
But when you take it even further and say, "Hey, I'm shiny hunting within this Pokemon Go game," when you look at the VGC or you look at the TCG, they have these kind of sub niches to the already niche content of Pokemon content at large.
Right.
So it's like when you're taking it a step further, it's like, man, this is cool because it is such focused content. Where it's like, man, if you're into shiny hunting and you're into that. That whole thing, it's like you're giving people a fantastic outlet to kind of have this escape into that shiny hunting culture because it's definitely its own thing and it really changes the way you have to approach the game as a trainer, right? So it's like, I mean, what's your typical Adventure Sync week look like?
Okay, well for me, I very rarely will ever. I think it was only once since it's been out have I not hit at least 50.
Nice.
Like at the most, I've hit like 100 and 40 or something like that.
Yes, that's
and
awesome.
Because I go nuts. Like honestly, if we ever did like a walking grind, I will walk indefinitely now, which is amazing because it's something I never thought I'd be able to do. Like again, this game with the weight loss and everything has also just built my leg muscles to a point where like the only time I'm going to stop is if I'm just like mentally tired. Like I don't get physically tired with it. And I live in Florida too, where it's hot constantly and I'm sweating and I just have to like drink water and power through it because, there is no portable air conditioning that'll work really well. So basically, it's definitely fun. And like with the whole niche thing, like I definitely think I chose a little bit broader of a niche in terms of like a lot of people like shinies. And that's just something that I also like. So I was just like, I feel like people would get into this eventually.
Yeah, that's a big thing on Twitch. So
yeah, but what I like about your content too is you still incorporate elements of Pokemon Go that are outside of shinies. Like the way you incorporate AR is like so organic and passive, and it's just like you whenever you have this AR stuff happening in your videos, it takes me by surprise like every time.
Really?
Because it's like you'll do like a a nice little panning shot, and it's like, oh, check it out, man, this some cool Florida scenery, and then like all of a sudden there's just like an AR Pokemon like chilling in the shot. I go, oh, I was not expecting that at all. It's so cool.
Well, thank you.
So cool.
Yeah,
So,
I definitely
kudos to that.
I've definitely been trying to make it more mixed up because in the past it used to just be AR. So it's I've been trying to do that where it's just like cool shot, and then I also try to do like funny things like I don't know if you saw the botanical garden I went to recently, and it was just like a whole bunch of cool flower shots, and then there's a sprinkler watering the flowers, and then I had a seal under there trying to like get the water. I was just like, I like coming up with things in my head. I'm just like, you know what? That's a cool idea. Maybe somebody won't get it, but for me, it's something fun.
So when it comes to shiny hunting and creating the content in general, like what's the main vibe? What's the main feeling that you try to get across in your videos? Is it the hunt itself? Is it the journey to find the hunt, or are you always kind of looking for that that big reaction. Like, when we had JT Gilly on, he said that he goes, the reactions that he has is what he tries to really capture, because that O face on all his, on all the thumbnails, you get that O face. He's like, those are real faces, because those are real reactions that you could find within the video. So it's like would you ever feel let down if you didn't find a shiny on a long hunt, or is it still, satisfying to get out there and create content about the hunt itself, or is it really just about that payoff?
Honestly, it's a mixture for sure. Whenever I don't get the shiny after a long day of hunting, it is definitely a little bit like, oh man, but I don't feel like I wasted my day by any means, because if I didn't do that, I would definitely not have gotten the shiny. You miss 100% of the shinies you don't check.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yep.
Now that I fixed my phone screen, because everybody was complaining about it being cracked as well, but I like showing look how many of these I'm doing. This isn't just I get lucky, but I'm getting lucky because I'm also walking till my feet bleed. So it's one of those things. Is I like showing the grind that if I ever had you guys in Orlando and I showed you my grinds, I'm sure you would understand. This is not. It's fun, but it's definitely a bit straining on you. You really gotta be ready to go for it. And nowadays, because I know my area so well, I just know the best path to take to get as many stops as possible. Especially with researches and such, or whenever there isn't research and it's these Alolans, I'm like, okay, cool. I know of a cool loop where I can literally walk for an hour in a circle and get so many spawns, and by the time I'm done with it, everything's refreshed and I'm back to my great cluster spawns. So,
Yeah, you gotta. Well, that's how you maximize the efficiency, and especially if you're really pounding out a hunt, you know what I mean. It's you want to maximize that, so you're getting the highest concentration of spawns possible. But you brought up a good point. You said with checking Pokemon. I always like to ask this to people that are in the shiny hunt game. So do you catch everything, or do you just check, or do you fast catch? How does that work for you? Are you just checking and running? What's your typical style?
It depends. If this cluster is huge, but I want to keep going, if I have to stop for a couple seconds and catch some stuff to get stuff out of the way, because sometimes there's that Diglett in the middle of the stupid rats or something, and you cannot click that Diglett. I'll stop and catch it. But sometimes if I'm really just in the mood, I'll fast catch, or I'm just walking, and if I don't catch it, then whatever. I'm not gonna click back on it. My medal definitely could be a lot higher if I really caught every little thing, but for me it's more just I'm really interested in finding the shiny right now. That's my main goal. Obviously the candy and the dust is good, but I also hatch a lot of eggs too. I recently passed 10,000 egg hatches too, so I'm getting dust from other places. It's not just pure catches. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't really care too much about catching a lot, but sometimes now I'm also in the mindset of PvP. If I ever choose to get into it, it's oh, hey, look, a 1500 exactly Executor. We'll catch that just because it might be useful.
Yeah, see, that's PvP has definitely been a paradigm shift, for a lot of trainers, because they kind of have to approach things very, very differently, and especially when it comes to if you're doing organized Sylph stuff where you're only battling in the Great League. It's you completely have to rewire your brain, think about IV spreads differently, and think about movesets differently, and it's definitely a different approach. So
yeah, I'll say my box hasn't had I've had way too much stuff just cluttered, because I'll go back and I'll be like, why did I save this Alolan Rattata from 3 weeks ago? And I'm like, it has a HP defense, but it has not so good stats on the other side. And I'm like,
I see you, Adam. We in our Discord we have a PvP bot, which is fantastic, where you can enter in the information of your Pokemon, and it will spit out its ranking as far as PvP is concerned, and give you, what the ideal IV spread for that Pokemon is and how it fares. And it's I see Adam in there in the middle of the night. He'll go in and he's posting up real shitty Pokemon, but it's just he's I could tell, I could see him with spreadsheets and notepads. No, this Rattata is no good. I'm transferring it. Going on to the next. I see you.
Well, and
man.
also the best
you.
thing about it is that now whenever you get a bad shiny, in the past it was man, this IVs are bad, but now it's wait, maybe it's PvP good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, anything that says HP defense in the middle, I'm saving it.
Yeah,
I gotta check
you
it.
never know.
Well, we're doing in our, going back to our Discord again, we do our Friday night fight weekend tournaments. So we do these remote tournaments that we manage. If you want to get involved with that, definitely check out our Patreon. $1 will get you into the Discord. We fast track you to Ultra Friends with everyone that's involved. We're doing a shiny tournament right now. So Great League, unranked, self-sanctioned, but it has to be a shiny Pokemon. So it's like everyone's battling with these odd, I've got a Sunflora in my party, you know what I mean?
Hey,
it's
me
like,
too.
Yeah. Bro, the Solar Beam takes so long to charge, but I got the Solar Beam off. I was like, hell yeah, Sunflora, get it. It's awesome. But yeah, so it's cool, like and it's always fun too. Even just putting a shiny Pokemon as your buddy and just swagging it out a little bit, it's fun.
Oh, yeah,
Shinies are great, man.
It's great to flex. I mean, I don't know if you can see my current buddy, but I have an Alolan Executor there, and I love his name. I call him Compensation.
Did you see that meme that's going around of like that tall vertical picture that's a million feet high with just like the long neck that just keeps going? It's so good.
I love it.
You don't even see the head. So good. That's awesome. All right. Another thing I always like bringing up, and we've had a bunch of full-time creators on this show, and they make their own hours. They're out there, breaking their ass, filming for, 6-7 hours, doing that whole thing. And they're able to do this and travel because they are full-time creators. Now, I always like to talk to creators that are, that work outside, have standard traditional careers or jobs, and how that compares to being a content creator and the struggles that are associated with that. So I know you're working, man. So it's like, how does that kind of fit into the mix with, especially with being where you do all this stuff on foot and you're shiny hunting. So you have to put in time. Like how does that work for you, man? Is that a tough balance to kind of manage the work the work grind plus the actual grind of playing the game?
Basically what it is now, ever since we started doing remodel at the store like 4 months ago. It's over now, but it was basically I would work nights, and then I would pretty much have my whole day to make a video or to shiny hunt, because I have to everything. But ever since I started getting paid on YouTube and such, it's been a little bit easier because now I don't have to fight. It was pretty rough. It was like oh, there's an event out, but I have to work or I'm not gonna do well. You know what I mean? So, and nowadays, though, I mean, it's working out pretty well in terms of, like, I'm getting to sustainable. I'm not making, like, 50,000 views of video. You're still suffering.
Yeah, well, that's a great point. And I think it was Zoe that put together a really cool thread on Twitter, kind of, trying to set the tone and expectation of the general consumer market of, like, how much do you think that YouTubers make? And, people were pretty realistic with it, but it turned out that, like, people think that YouTubers are pulling, like, big fucking bucks. And it's like, some of them are, but those that are doing that, the numbers that you have to consistently hit are staggering. So it's like, if you're not getting, the 100,000 views per video and people are not riding, through your ads and you're not running like mid-video ads or like full-length, 10, 15-second ad copy, it's like, it's hard, man. Like, I totally respect that. And working in the video space, man, I definitely have learned to appreciate, people that are grinding it out on YouTube, man. It's a tough struggle. So props to you for that, man. That's great to hear that you're kind of, YouTube is kind of making it happen for you. I think that's really inspiring and really awesome.
Thank you. I mean, if you want to get into YouTube, you got to treat it like an unpaid internship. You just got to go in there, work hard at it, but realize you're not making any money, but you're improving yourself. You're getting yourself out there. People are getting to know you, and then Mr. YouTube or Mrs. YouTube, who knows, but whatever, will notice you. The algorithm will be like, all right, eventually, and then hopefully it'll pick up. And I got very lucky with that, so I'm very thankful.
Yeah, and it's just patience, and like that's the thing. It's like and nothing happens overnight. We didn't get.
I don't.
VIP anything until like, we worked hard and did this podcast for as long as we have.
Yeah, no, I think the internship is a great way to think about it, because it's more than a hobby. And the same thing with podcasting. It's like there's no money in this, but it's the fact that you're learning and building up this this knowledge base, I think that's what is comparable to the internship, because you could be knitting as a hobby and you're not really having any professional development out of that, but something like content creation, there's you're actually developing yourself, developing a skill set that can be applied in ways that could be lucrative with inside or outside of the content creation space. So it's definitely, it's cool, man. I love talking the nuts and bolts of it all, but that's really freaking cool. You had mentioned, what if you stopped? I think that's a good segue here to talk about the future of your channel and where you would like to see this go, and really the importance of travel, because I've watched tons and tons and tons of gaming content on YouTube, but because this is a social game and because this culture of YouTube for Pokemon Go is centered around cinematography elements and travel elements. I mean, travel has to be a pretty significant part of a YouTuber's, repertoire when it comes to their goals and stuff. So what's next for you with travel? Like you're heading out to Japan?
Oh yeah, I'm going to, for the first time in my life. I'm really excited about it. Like, I've always wanted to go to Japan ever since I was small, and I'm also a huge Godzilla fan, so like I cannot wait. This is going to be incredible.
All right. Well, let me write this ship. JT, thank you so much for coming on, man. I'm super excited. We got to chill and spend time together in Chicago. I'm looking forward to doing that again. Hopefully next year we can hook up again, and we're I know that we're going to be trying to get down to Disney sooner than later, maybe in 2020. So maybe we'll hit you up when we're down by Orlando too. Holler. Awesome. But why don't you again let our community know where they can find you, and of course I'll put all your links in the descriptions, but just any shout outs, plugs, go for it.
All right, well, you can find me on YouTube at JT Valor, and then there's also Twitter, JT Valor, and that's pretty much it right now. I plan on making Instagram and stuff like that, and making a Facebook page, but at the moment, it's just YouTube and Twitter.
We're going to take a break, and we'll be back right after. I don't know, I think we got some Slowpoke jams.
Hold up, everyone. Are you ready for a sing-along? Slowpoke in a reggae style. Pokemon. Come in!
Slow. What your story is, Slowpoke. Slow.
And we're back from our break. JT Valor, thank you so much for coming on the show.
He was fantastic.
I love that guy. He's so positive.
He is.
He's got good motivation, good direction, and
he's kind.
Man. That's the kicker. That's the kicker. He's just a freaking sweet guy. It's so nice. So nice to be around good people. So good. All right, on today's show, like we said up top, we're going to talk about the 3rd anniversary of Pokemon Go. There was also that big APK mine of 0.147.1. I did tell you to hold on to your butts. I'm going to tell you to hold on to your butts again. It's a big one. And then we'll get into a little Jungle Cup meta and Battle Party. All right, 3rd anniversary of Pokemon Go. This is big time, man.
Happy birthday, Pokemon Go.
Happy birthday. Coming from PokemonGoLive.com. This is live right now, so as of the 28th, so this by the time you hear this, will be a couple days in already. New shinies. Tons of new shinies.
Tons of them.
Alolan Rattata, Sandshrew, Vulpix, Diglett, Meowth, Geodude, Grimer, and Execute. Alolan forms. All out there. Now,
how many do you have?
What was interesting, I got fucking 0.
I don't have any either.
Look, when this first launched, the Alolans were nowhere. Like you would, obviously the Rat and who else would, and Geodude would sometimes spawn in the wild, Diglett too. But we weren't seeing any increased numbers. Now, in their announcement, they didn't say that there was going to be increased numbers. So if you wanted these shiny Alolans, it was still really from the 7K. But the community was up in arms. They were very vocal. And Niantic responded, up the spawn rate of the Alolan Pokemon. I don't know how long the increased spawn rate will last. They're everywhere right now because they didn't really put a closing date on this. They just said starting on the 28th at 1 o'clock. So we'll see how long this actually lasts, but they are out there. Some good-looking shinies, some really cool stuff.
I want the Geodude.
I haven't I didn't do that much grinding, so I can't blame anyone. But the Alolan Executor, man, I just want it. It's so cool. What else we have here? Team leader avatar items. This is pretty cool. So you can get the, whatever your team leader's jacket and all that stuff, you can get those. They look really nice on the avatar. Very, very well, they fit the character very well.
Party
Sometimes
hat
the clothing
Pikachu
looks a little
photobombs.
funky. Oh, yeah.
Listen, it's so cute, honestly, because they've got like...
It's like a stack of Pikachu.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But
They hit the
the
nail on
Party
the
Hat
head on that
Pikachu's back. It could be shiny. And then Party Hat Pichu's back in 7Ks, and that could be shiny as well.
My first round of 7Ks that I hatched four regular Pichus with the party hat all in a row.
Yeah, they're from what I understand, they're pretty common, the regular Party Hat Pichu. But someone in our Discord did get the shiny, which is pretty awesome. The shiny Pichu with the party hat, which is really rad. Whenever they do a hat that can be shiny, that's some next level rarity shit. So that's definitely cool. There was also new special research that was called the Jump Start Special Research Bonuses. I don't want to dig into it too much. It's been covered a lot. But really, these bonuses were kind of built to give people lots of Stardust and lots of XP. So there's a lot of good stuff in there. Really basic stuff. Make new friends, trade a Pokemon, spin stops, like real kind of basic stuff. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check out the details of each of these steps. I know some people don't want to be surprised a little bit on this, so we'll refrain from going step by step on that. But they're nothing terribly exciting, but the rewards are XP and Stardust for the most part. And then also Stardust costs were reduced by 25% for this kind of event window, and we don't know when this is really going to wrap, but take advantage of those trades now. But 3 years of Pokemon Go, man, it's pretty wild to think that this game has been around for 3 years and it's still producing as much content as it is, and it's still making as much money as it is. I mean, it's very promising for the game. And
yes,
they kind of had to do something with the release of Harry Potter. They had to do something to let people know that they didn't forget about Pokemon Go. So they came out with this, a bunch of new shinies all at once, but that's not even what I'm most excited about. Because what I'm most excited about is this APK mine of 0.147.1. Now, last week we talked
the
about
nerd time.
Yeah, we talked about 147.0, which had stuff that was already live in the game. The stuff that's in 147.1 is not live yet. However, this is where you need to put on the tinfoil hat big time, because the shit that GoHub was able to find in this APK mine is no joke. This is legit game changing. Figuratively, literally, however you want to look at it, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Adam, you want to talk about invasions? Have you heard of this?
Oh my gosh, the invasions. These are going to be a new type of gameplay that it seems to be like it's going to go with Shadow Pokemon. And it's going to involve Team Rocket. They feature non-playable characters, NPCs, and they're going to take places at Pokestops. So Team Rocket is going to take over Pokestops. So hopefully this is something that they can do outside of raid window hours.
So I have a feeling that this is going to be similar to Fortresses in Harry Potter, where this is going to be something where you can engage in like a little single player experience, and outside of raid hours, because you could do a fortress 24/7, and there's been no mention of multiplayer. But there was a line of code that said specifically solo invasion. So maybe there will be a solo thing and multiplayer thing. Who knows? But there's a couple bits of irony here that I do want to dig into. So Shadow Pokemon, let me back up. If you go to Bulbapedia, the lore of Shadow Pokemon reads as this. It says, Shadow Pokemon are Pokemon that are being used for wrongful acts because they had the doors to their hearts shut artificially, a process created and carried out by Pfeiffer in the Ore region. Collecting Shadow Pokemon through snagging and restoring them to normal by purifying them is the main goal of Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. So, going back to these GameCube games, Coliseum and Gale of Darkness, the site, Pfeiffer was the team, and the Ore was the region. So Team Rocket really had nothing to do at all with Shadow Pokemon. But I guess to manipulate the branding and manipulate the marketing, people recognize Team Rocket. So they're tying the Shadow Pokemon back to Team Rocket. It's fine. I'm not bent out of shape over that by any means. But Shadow Pokemon, as far as the game are concerned, is going to be handled like a gender, like a form. So in the code, it's kind of, or GoHub kind of defines it as a new form of Pokemon that'll have their own stats, move values, candy, and Stardust multipliers. So they're definitely a different line item, different itemization in the decks. This kind of takes me over to something that people were picking up on. If you look at Mewtwo in the decks right now, there's a silhouette for a different evolution form of Mewtwo. And again,
ooh, Shadow Mewtwo.
We know that Mewtwo doesn't
don't tell
evolve, but as far as the game is concerned, it's going to consider Shadow Pokemon similar to an evolution or a form or a gender, a different version. So this is really exciting. This is really, really exciting because you saw, there's, the on the cover of Gale of Darkness, it's Shadow Lugia. So there's no mention of Shadow Lugia in the code here yet, but there's a lot. This is awesome. Like, this is huge. Yeah. It's a whole completely new mechanic.
And it's saying, for purification, it's going to be a mechanic to convert the Shadow Pokemon into their normal versions, which will cost Stardust and Candy. So I imagine that you probably can't use them for PvP or put them in gyms.
I don't know how it's going to work.
You purify them?
Well, let's talk about the invasions real quick. So the invasions are a 3-stage event. You're going to have a battle phase, encounter phase, and a purification phase. We know that they're going to have timers. We know that you're going to be facing off against Team Rocket grunts. There's actually a list that Trials found, and also GoHub, kind of detailing all the different types of grunts. You have like male and female Team Rocket grunt, and you have electric Team Rocket grunt, dark Team Rocket grunt, all these different things. But you're going to have this purification stage. So I'm assuming that you'll have the opportunity to do this purification process to remove the shadow from them. I don't know if you don't have the Stardust or don't have the candy, or you want to bypass this, will you still be able to catch it? Again, tinfoil hats. None of this stuff is confirmed. Who knows? But we're looking at it from a PvP perspective. This is just another thing that people have to spend Stardust on. You know what I mean? Like, that's not good. That's not practical.
Yeah, but maybe this is the thing. This is where they're gaining their momentum for actually starting something in game with PvP.
Oh man, I don't know.
Like, could this be
tinfoil hats, man? Tinfoil hat. Put the tinfoil hat. It's like, this seems crazy. And I think of the Weird Al gif. It's like, who knows where this can go? Who knows where this can go? But I definitely think that the invasion thing is going to be a lot of fun, because if they do it like Fortresses in Harry Potter, it's just going to give people things to do off hours. And the fact that they're happening at Pokestops means that you could have Team Rocket taking over. There's way more Pokestops than there are gyms. There's way more Pokestops than there are Fortresses in Harry Potter. But let's hope that they just don't say, okay, we're only going to have Team Rocket take over the stops during the same raid hour window. You know what I mean? Like,
that would be the worst.
I know. I want to be able to do something at night. I want to go for a night walk and be able to like post up at a stop and and play a little mini game. It's gonna be cool.
Watch it be on only like on sponsored stops or something. Ugh.
I'll take it. I'll go sit my ass at a Starbucks and do a little thing. That's awesome. I'm in. Starbucks are on weekends. Starbucks by me are open till midnight. That's good stuff. There was also 3 new moves added to the game: Frustration, Return, and Synchronize. These are interesting moves because Frustration and Return are based on friendship levels in the game. So maybe they're going to be kind of using this friendship mechanic to kind of piggyback on the Shadow and Purify thing. I don't know. But if we look at the Bulbapedia entries, Frustration says it inflicts damage and has no secondary effect. The base power of Frustration is dependent on the user's friendship. The lower the user's friendship, the greater the base power of Frustration. Return kind of is the opposite. Return inflicts damage and has no secondary effect. The base power of Return is dependent on the friendship of the user. The greater the user friendship, the greater the base power. Now, when we look at synchronize, this is the exciting thing. This is again, I'm putting on the tinfoil hat. Synchronize, it says in Bulbapedia, it damages all adjacent Pokemon with the same type as the user. If the user is dual type Pokemon, it will damage all Pokemon with either of the user's types. So, here, inappropriately speculate with me. We're in a Pokestop that is taken over by Team Rocket. There's an electric type Team Rocket Grunt there, and that Team Rocket Grunt has 2 Pokemon. Now, if you're in a Harry Potter fortress and you go in there, you can see multiple Pokemon or multiple, creatures in that fortress. So perhaps in the Pokestop, we'll be able to see 2 electric type Team Rocket based Pokemon sitting in this minigame thing, where if you were to use Synchronize, you'd be able to damage both of them at the same time. I don't know. This is a completely new thing.
Wow.
It's completely opening a whole new door to... I'm freaking hyped. This is big. This can be really big. This can also be the first step into, a battle system rework. Who knows?
And the frustration, it's like, that could be like, oh, well, I just caught something and I'm going to put that in my battle party. And like, that's going to be the Pokemon that does the most damage because it knows frustration. So it's like, you can only have that move on there for like a couple battles because it would be lowest friendship. Or if something you have to, like for return, I feel like that's going to be the Pokemon you have the longest walking distance with.
Okay, so then they kind of use the distance walk,
buddy system,
the buddy system to work with friendship. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
But I feel like they should cap it. Probably 50 kilometers would be like, or 100 kilometers would be like,
that's still a huge commitment. That's a lot.
Yeah, well, my Delibird, he's got, I don't even know. He's got a lot.
Well, that's you, dude. That's you've got issues with that. But
I mean,
no, but I think that there's a lot of potential here. And then there's also something else, and I'm very, very, very excited for this.
What is it?
It's an item called the Route Maker. The Route Maker, however you want to call it. Route Maker. This potentially, in my eyes, what I see this could be, if I inappropriately speculate, is something to the effect of Ingress missions. So in Ingress, players can develop these missions that are waypoint-based, itemized missions saying, hey, I'm going to, I live at the Jersey Shore, so I'm going to create a Jersey Shore mission where I'm going to find 10 landmarks at the Jersey Shore that are Pokestops, and you're going to have to interact with all 10 of these things in any order, but you put together this kind of little single-player minigame. And in Ingress, you see that with portals where it's connected via GPS. You can pull up a map, you can see all the stops on the map, and you can go from point to point to point using the game as a reference, interact with the portals. You unlock, when you interact with the portal in the game, it interacts with the mission. When you complete the mission, you earn rewards. If this is some way that we're going to be able to create these routes of single-player based missions, again, completely redefining the mechanics of the game, I'm very, very, very excited. This could be big.
Wow. This is a lot.
There's a lot. Now,
this is a really nerdy tinfoil hat.
Well, it's
heavy.
Look, they have to do something.
APK mine.
They have to do something with all this great stuff that's happening in Harry Potter, because there's so many cool mechanics in there. They have to pull some of this stuff out. So maybe they're saying, okay, we're going to pull a similar fortress type style thing from Harry Potter, and we're going to bring that over in the form of Pokestop invasions. And then but Ingress, they have the really cool mission system. So we're going to pull that over from Ingress. We're going to call it the Route Maker. So who knows how it's going to work? I don't know. I'm very excited, though, because the future is looking really, really strong and really different and diverse. And I just think that, Pokemon Go needs it, because the gym system is kind of fizzled out completely. Even raiding. I mean, we had Raikou Day this past week that we'll talk about in the miscellaneous news, but, even raiding is becoming a little stale. So it's like I think they need something like this to kind of reignite people's passions in these things outside of PvP. You know what I mean? Because people are really hype on PvP, but like I know people used to go out and do gyms hard as hell. I just don't see that at all anymore. So I think that this could be a way to get people out there and grinding on Pokestops like they used to do with grinding on gyms. Just they need to. Something new. Very excited. Very, very excited.
Very excited.
All right, finally, before we wrap up, I got a couple bits of miscellaneous news here I want to talk about, and then we'll talk about our battle party. There was Raikou Raid Day this past weekend. We had 4 to 7 p.m. local time. Raikou spawning at all the gyms. How'd you do?
I did 18. I think I caught 13, and only one was shiny.
But you got the shiny.
It was low. Shiny, yeah. So the shiny rates for just in general were pretty low from what I've been seeing. And everybody in my group, there were people that didn't get them. There were people that did an additional one because the group did 19. I came in one raid late.
How many did you have in the group?
20, exactly.
Oh, nice. So that's good for your area.
Yes. Yeah, well, it was pre-coordinated.
Yeah, we had 35, which was probably a little bit too big because it slowed us down, people trying to break off into groups and all that. Even though we were getting bonuses from the 3rd anniversary of extra balls, like people still felt the need to break into teams. Like, it was unnecessary, but we did 20. I caught 14. I got 2 shinies and all of them are doo-doo. So I didn't get any with good IV. But there was one guy in our group that got triple back-to-back-to-back shiny Raikou. Which was wild.
That's insane.
Yep. And 2 of them were the exact same CP. They weren't necessarily good, but they were both the same CP. But our group got a lot. Our group, there was 35 of us. I think that there was only 1 or 2 people that did not get them. We hit 5 EX raids, possible gyms. Did not get the EX raid pass. My son did, who did 11 of the 20.
That doesn't make sense.
I know. And it's at a time that he can't do it. I wouldn't have been able to do it anyway, if it was the same one that I got. But Raikou Day was pretty good, man. It wasn't that difficult. So if you had 4 or 5 trainers together with some decent counters, some good Groudons and stuff, you could take it out. But that was really fun. All right, Mudkip officially was announced as the July 21st Community Day Pokemon, to no one's surprise. Here's one that's interesting. The Europe, Middle Eastern, African area that got kind of screwed out of their Slackoth Community Day. They were kind of riddled with issues where they lost a couple hours. They couldn't interact with the game. So they're bringing back Slackoth Community Day, but they're doing it instead of just being a 1-day, 3-hour window. They're bringing it back for the entire Dortmund Go Fest window, the 4th through the 7th of July. So
they're just adding one additional Pokemon.
They're just
to their
adding
Go Fest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and again, the Go Fest is happening in Dortmund, Germany. So only the Germans are going to really be able to benefit from the Go Fest spawns plus the Slackoth spawns. But people were concerned, like, this is going to ruin my Go Fest spawns now. And Niantic support said, look, we assure you, it's not going to interfere with Go Fest spawns at all. Don't sweat it. Don't worry. It's just one more Pokemon in the mix. So I like this because it's not that they're, if something gets screwed up or something gets messed up, they're not just giving it back. They're giving it back with a lot more. Same thing with Go Fest Chicago. People lost 2-3 hours of gameplay on that Saturday because of the rainstorm. They give back an additional 10 hours worth of gameplay, at a later date. So I like that they're doing this, but I do think it's weird, though, that they're bringing it for the whole weekend. It's kind of funky. And we talked about the Mewtwo evolution silhouette in the Pokedex. Definitely check that out. Oh, real quick, we didn't talk about this. In the 3rd anniversary poster, the promo image, you get our first look at the Gen 5 starters. Are tucked away in there. Also, Mime Jr.
That's such a tease.
Mime Jr.'s in there as well. So maybe we'll.
That's like a.
We haven't really ever talked about that. Like, what are they going to do with Mime Jr.? Are they going to make it?
I'm sure they'll give it to us in the 7K eggs.
Yeah, but then it breaks the region lock on Mr. Mime.
But they did that with the Kangaskhan.
But that was limited. That was limited, though.
Right, but they can limit this. They you know how often they change the egg pools?
Yeah.
You really think that they're not going to do that?
Yeah, but they don't.
They're
really...
going to release it and say, "Hey, he's in 7K eggs. Give us a great deal on a box." So we're forced to buy more incubators. We're going to spend a ton of money. We're going to buy more incubators. We're going to hatch and hatch and hatch, and people aren't going to get it. And they're going to be upset, and some people are going to get it, and they're going to be like, "Yes, I got it."
I don't know. That's going to be an interesting one to follow because I don't know how they're going to handle it.
They'll probably give us a solid week with it, and then they'll say, "Okay, and now it's going to be only gifts sent from
the European region."
Europe." I feel like that would be a legit thing to do. So well, then they'd have to do that with like Japan.
That's what I'm saying.
So.
It's like, how are they going to handle this? Who knows how they're going to handle it? I have no idea. But that's something that we're going to have to, dig into and follow when they do release it. But obviously, they teased the Gen 4 Pokemon in the second anniversary promo image, and it was months before they came out. So I'm not thinking that these Gen 5, Pokemon are coming anytime soon. But the Mime Jr., on the other hand, I think that could come sooner than later.
Yeah, that has nothing. Yeah, just give it to us. Give it to us,
Give
Niantic.
it to me. All right, let's get into this Jungle Cup battle party. And people enjoyed last week hearing the Mareep Up battle party theme. So why don't we do that one again? Take it away, Mareep Ups.
Battle party! Woo! Woo! Battle party! Woo! Woo! Yeah!
Okay. Jungle Cup meta. This is the Sylph Arena July meta. Electric, bug, grass, and normal types. So this is very funky. First time we're seeing normal. Tropius and Burmy lines are banned, mainly because Tropius is just a powerhouse, and the Burmy is such low CP that it would be very, very, very expensive to power it up to make it competitive, and they want to limit the amount of Stardust people have to put in to kind of prevent people from getting turned off of doing it in general because they don't want to spend the Stardust. I got some information that's going to be coming from 3 sources here. I'm looking at a infographic from GoHub from Couple of Gaming, so I'll look to that and I'll link that in the description. I've also looked to pvpoke.com and pokebattler.com to put this information together. Now, when it comes to resources for team building, I like looking at both PvPoke and Pokebattler in their default setup. So that's how we're going to look here. Even though you can dial things in a bit, looking at them in their default state is a nice diverse look because you're going to get a different look from each site. So if we look at pvpoke.com, overall rankings, number 1 Pokemon, Forretress. Number 2, Vigoroth. Then Noctowl, Magnezone, Alolan Graveler, Alolan Golem. So there's the top 6 per PvPoke's overall rankings. But if we look at Pokebattler in the default state, which is overall rankings with random shields and all charge moves, this is a little funky with all charge moves because you have that, you could have Pokemon with off types that kind of skew things. But top of line is Vigoroth, then Forretress, Noctowl, Scizor, Venusaur, and Cradily. So a different look. So again, nice diversity going from site to site. I think it's important to look at more than one site if you're really serious about building a PvP meta-based team. So looking at all this, looking at this infographic from Couple of Gaming that kind of says, what's good against what. In this infographic, we're seeing Pokemon like Vespiquen. We see, Lantern is in there. Lantern is a solid electric type, probably my preferred electric type in PvP at large. So what I'm bringing is the Vigoroth. Vigoroth is the king of the meta, in my opinion. Then we have Venusaur, which I would be bringing to counter other Vigoroths. Forretress, which can counter Venusaur, Magnezone, Golems. Noctowl, which can then counter the Forretress. Alolan Golem, which can counter the Noctowl and Vespiquen. And then I got to bring my Lantern that can counter Magnezone and Alolan Golem. And again, if you have a water-based move, you can counter that Magnezone. So Vigoroth, Venusaur, Forretress, Noctowl, Alolan Golem, and Lantern. What a freaking crazy lineup. This meta is nuts.
Well, mine is not so nuts because I have Stardust invested in some things, but then I don't have it in others, so I'd rather not spend that Stardust right now.
I hear you.
Because
you got to save it for purifying Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. I was like, man, those purifying Pokemon, I got to save. But I'll be bringing Venusaur because he's already powered up. He's already battle ready. I've got a powered up Scizor. I've got a 100% Dustox that I'm going to bring just because it's 100%. It's a bug type and I can use it.
Yeah,
and
that's not
I
good.
think it maxes out at like 12 something.
Oh, actually, then you're okay. If they max out under 1,500 at 100%, then yes, then you want the 100%.
Yeah, no, that was why I brought it, because I don't have any other chance to use it. Magneton is gonna be my electric type, and then I've got Shiftry and Breloom because they can cover dark and fighting as well. Not that those matter, but
No, but sure. But if you have fighting moves, that's going to be good against Vigoroth.
yeah.
So yeah,
So Breloom.
That's what I'm saying. So you kind of have to think about that stuff. Like that's what I like about building out PvP parties is you kind of have to think outside the box and take advantage of those two moves, because you're going to have all these different diverse Pokemon coming at you, and it's like you got to figure out how you can counter them. And even on Pokebattler, you can build a party and build a team based off counters, not just based off of the overall or the best attacker or the best defender. It's like, you can figure out how, build teams just off counters. I think that's, there's so many different ways that you could build out a squad. But so you got Venusaur, Scizor, Dustox, Magneton, Shiftry, Breloom. No Vigoroth, huh?
I do have one. He's at like 1,200, but I don't want to invest any dust in it.
And it's a bummer that Melissa isn't with us right now, because Munchlax is actually could be a contender in this cup. So it's like I don't know what else you would bring, but I know Munchlax would be on her squad for sure.
And what about an under 15 Snorlax?
Yeah, but
Is that not as good?
No, I think the Munchlax actually performs better because you can get it to a higher level at 1,500. Where the Snorlax would have to be a lower level to even if it's under 15. But again, those IV spreads, man, when you get the big fat Pokemon like that, you really have to make sure you're having a exceptionally low attack stat, which is hard, hard to get. But all right, Adam, that's a show. We did it.
That is a show. We have done it.
We have done it. Thank you, everyone, for checking us out. Please check out PokemonProfessor.com for everything that we're doing in our network. Check out LuredUp.com for the show. Leave us a review in iTunes. We would greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate that. That would help us out a ton. You can leave us a voicemail, 732-835-8639. Shoot us an email, info@luredup.com. But other than that, make sure you check out JT Valor. Let him know that we sent you. Great guy. Check out the Phoenix on Instagram. And other than that, man, Adam, you got anything else?
Keep training, trainers.
All right, you heard it. See you next week.